Most people don't realize it, but while you sleep, your mind is wide open, absorbing, recording, shaping who you become. This is the true-to-life story of Nathan Cole, a man who was stuck, spiraling, and on the edge until he discovered the incredible power of subconscious reprogramming while he slept. What happened in the next 6 months felt like magic. But it was neuroscience, faith, and a nightly decision to let go and retrain the mind. This is how he rewrote his reality while dreaming. It was January 2025. Nathan Cole was 41. He lived alone in a modest one-bedroom apartment on the edge of Seattle. Divorced, tired, working a job that drained him. He used to believe in potential, in big dreams. But after years of disappointment, promotions denied, business ideas that failed, relationships that crumbled, he stopped believing. He wasn't bitter, just numb. He'd go to work, do the bare minimum, watch something on his laptop at night, scroll endlessly, sleep late, and repeat. There was a heaviness that never quite left. And it wasn't just emotional, it was physical. Waking up every morning felt like dragging a dead weight. His body, his energy, his hope. He had tried therapy, YouTube motivation videos, even affirmations. Nothing stuck. Nothing changed. Until one night in early February, something shifted. It was past midnight. Nathan couldn't sleep. Again. He was watching random videos on YouTube, mostly just background noise when something auto-played. The title flashed, "Your mind is programmable. Train it while you sleep." He almost skipped it, but the speaker's voice was calm, commanding, and the first sentence made him sit up. Your subconscious never sleeps. What you feed it before bed becomes your default operating system. Nathan paused the video. That one sentence rattled him, because for years his bedtime routine was basically anxiety, regret, and Netflix. What if, instead of zoning out or beating himself up before bed, he could plant new beliefs that could actually take root? He played the video again, this time with attention. The speaker talked about theta brainwaves, the deeply relaxed state between waking and sleeping. He said, if you want to bypass the resistance of your logical mind, do it when you're half awake, right before you sleep or right after you wake. Nathan opened a new tab and typed, Sleep Subconscious Reprogramming Audio. He found one. The comments were filled with stories. People saying they felt lighter, more focused, more positive, just from listening nightly. It sounded insane, but so was staying stuck. That night, he put in his earbuds, turned off the lights, and let the audio play. The affirmations were soft, repetitive, almost hypnotic. I am worthy. I trust the process of life. Abundance flows to me with ease. He didn't even remember falling asleep. But the next morning, something felt different. Nathan didn't wake up buzzing with joy. But for the first time in months, he didn't feel dread in his chest. He got out of bed and didn't snooze 5 times. He even looked in the mirror. Not to criticize, but just to look. Something subtle had shifted. It wasn't motivation. It was energy. Like a heaviness had lifted just slightly. He kept the habit. Every night he picked a new subconscious sleep audio. He'd dim the lights, brush his teeth, lie down, and press play. Some nights he fell asleep before the first 5 minutes. Some nights he cried quietly, letting out pain that had been buried for years. But he stayed consistent. And after 7 days, things started to move. He didn't tell anyone, but inside he felt like a new identity was forming. A voice inside him, once full of doubt, started whispering things like, maybe you're not broken. Maybe you just never learned the right programming. By the end of February, Nathan was sleeping better than he had in years. He had fewer nightmares, less tossing and turning, and strangely, more vivid dreams. Dreams where he was speaking confidently in front of people, where he was traveling, laughing, free. One morning, he woke up with the words ringing in his mind. I am becoming who I was meant to be. He wrote it down, put it on a sticky note, placed it on his bathroom mirror. Then something clicked. What if his whole life was a result of past programming? And now he was installing a new system. he started speaking affirmations out loud before bed. I am creating a new reality. My mind is becoming my ally. Every night I upgrade my beliefs. Then he added visualization. He'd lie in bed, eyes closed, and imagine a scene where he felt powerful. He saw himself walking into a new office, confident, clear. He saw himself getting a bank alert. Deposit received $5,000. He saw himself on a beach, not rushing, just living. He felt these visions, not hoping, experiencing, and then letting sleep take over, letting the subconscious do the rest. By March 2025, Nathan wasn't just feeling better, he was behaving differently. He no longer snoozed his alarm 6 times. He got up with a strange sense of direction, even if he didn't know what the day would bring. He started jogging 3 mornings a week, not to lose weight, but because it cleared his mind. He cleaned his apartment, reorganized his space, opened the blinds. It was like his environment was responding to his energy. Or maybe for the first time, he was noticing what had always been there, potential. At work, he started speaking up in meetings. Not aggressively, just clearly, confidently, and people responded differently. They listened. A senior manager approached him after one call and said, "Hey, that insight about the client's concerns, that was sharp. You ever thought about leading a team?" Nathan blinked. That night, he didn't watch Netflix. He opened his notes app and wrote, "The world is starting to mirror back my inner upgrade." What was happening inside Nathan was more than placebo. Every night as he drifted into sleep, his brain passed through theta brainwave states, the gateway between the conscious and subconscious. In that state, resistance drops. You're not analyzing, you're not judging, you're just receiving. And Nathan's subconscious, which for years was fed self-doubt, guilt, and scarcity, was now getting a steady stream of empowerment, repetition, visualization, emotional charge. He wasn't just hearing, "I am enough." He was feeling it while his critical mind was offline. And science shows the subconscious doesn't respond to logic. It responds to emotion, repetition, and images. The more he listened, the more those messages became his default thoughts. And when you change your dominant thoughts, you change your identity. And when you change your identity, your actions, habits, and results all begin to follow. By May, something wild happened. Nathan got an email from a recruiter. A job opening, remote, better salary, growth-oriented. He hadn't applied. A colleague had referred him after noticing his recent confidence shift. He interviewed, not nervously, but with presence. He got the job. Not just that, he negotiated a higher salary, because somewhere in the last 90 days, he started believing he was worth it, and it wasn't just work. He reconnected with his younger brother, who he hadn't spoken to in nearly a year. He reached out to an old mentor and had coffee. He signed up for a workshop about purpose and clarity. He started meditating in the mornings. He stopped apologizing for wanting more. His inner voice used to say, "Be realistic." Now it said, "Be aligned." One night in June, Nathan had a dream. He was back in his childhood bedroom. A voice, gentle, calm, kept repeating, "You were never broken." He woke up crying, but it wasn't sadness, it was release. For the first time in decades, he felt like he wasn't carrying his younger self anymore, the insecure teen, the anxious college student, the man who failed and gave up. He had let them go. He had upgraded his mind. He sat on his bed, hands on his heart, and whispered, "Thank you, mind. We're safe now. Let's move forward." That night, he didn't use the affirmation audio. He just listened to silence because now his own thoughts were enough. By July 2025, Nathan no longer recognized the man he was just 6 months earlier, and not in a new year, new me kind of way. This shift was deeper. He didn't just act confident, he felt it. He didn't just do positive things. He had become someone who expected good things. Gone were the anxious nights. Gone was the constant noise of, "What if I fail?" Gone was the idea that he had to earn worthiness. He now knew. Worthiness was his starting point, not the reward. He started sharing little insights from his journey on social media. Not preachy, just real. One post read, Every night before bed, I reminded my mind of who I was becoming. 6 months later, life caught up. It got over 400 likes. People DM'd him. Are you a coach? What audio do you use? Can you teach me this? Nathan smiled. He wasn't trying to be a guru, but his energy was becoming magnetic. Because when you live in truth, people feel it, even through a screen. People kept asking, what exactly did you do? So Nathan wrote it out one night, the full breakdown of his nightly mind training routine. He called it the sleep sync ritual. He prepared the environment, dimmed lights 30 minutes before bed, put his phone on do not disturb, no news or scrolling. He spoke 3 identity-based affirmations aloud. I am becoming a magnet for opportunities. My life supports me in every way. I am safe, strong, and ready. He visualized moments of future joy, smiling at a deposit notification, laughing in a healthy relationship, walking through an airport. He played subconscious reprogramming audios on YouTube while sleeping, focused on confidence, abundance, and self-worth. And when he woke up, he wrote one thing that felt better, no matter how small. I slept deeper. I woke up hopeful. That routine became his anchor. The breakthrough came in August. Nathan was invited to speak on a virtual panel, a men and mindset event with over 4,000 live viewers. He almost said no. Then he remembered, he wasn't the man who feared rejection anymore. He was the man who trained his mind to believe in possibilities. He showed up. He told his story, not as a success story, but as a work in progress. He spoke about sleeping with headphones on, whispering affirmations in the dark, crying between visualizations, and keeping going anyway. When the event ended, the chat was flooded with comments like, "You just changed how I see myself. This is the most authentic speaker I've ever heard. I'm starting tonight." Nathan closed his laptop. Tears welled in his eyes, not from pride, but peace. He had done the work, quietly, daily, faithfully, and now the world was reflecting it back. But this story isn't about Nathan. It's about you. Because if you're watching this right now and your life feels stuck, it's not because you're lazy, broken, or unlucky. It's because you're still operating on old code. And no matter how hard you try to change your life from the outside, if your subconscious still runs the same script, nothing sticks. But here's the good news. Your subconscious is listening, especially while you sleep. And starting tonight, you can begin to feed it something new. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to know all the science. You just need to begin. Before bed, whisper something kind to yourself. Visualize one future win, even for 30 seconds. Play a simple reprogramming audio and fall asleep in alignment, not anxiety. Repeat, trust, receive. Because 6 months from now, you could be the person telling the story. You could be the one someone else looks at and says, "Wow, what changed?" And your answer will be simple. I trained my mind while I slept, and everything else followed.